Hello, welcome back to a chapter day. Happy Thursday. Oh my goodness, I pray you all are having a beautiful day on your side, wherever you are, like we are on this side. It is sunny, still cool, but sunny, and it is just beautiful. It's quiet. Children are back out at school. And I am going to be reading 3 chapters today again. Well, not reading, but kind of giving little summaries on some of the verses. Because this is Ecclesiastes, which was Solomon's words about things that he observed in his own life. The Proverbs were things he observed in general, in everyday living for everyone. But these words in Ecclesiastes are majorly dealing with him, I believe. And well, things that he was contemplating, I would say, as he got older or old. And a lot of things he just thought was a waste of time, vanity. When he says something is vanity, it was just a waste of time. Yeah, of no great consequence, which is a lot of things that we have and do. When we look back, it was like, oh man, I danced on that floor from 8 p.m. till 5 a.m. Wow, what did that do for me? Okay, starting with chapter 7. A good name is better than precious ointment. And a lot of these verses sound very much like things you might have heard in Proverbs already before. That's why I'm not going to be reading every last one of them. So another one, and that was verse 1 of chapter 7, verse 5. It is better to hear the rebuke of the wise than for a man to hear the song of fools. And he always comes down with foolishness. Verse 8. The patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. And I would say this, patience is one of those virtues. You know, we say Job was very patient. I'm not quite sure if patient was the right word, but I guess patient in waiting for God to bring him through his trials. Yeah, I guess we can say that. But it is one of those better virtues that we can pray for. Verse 12. Wisdom is a defense and money is a defense. Not sure what he means by that, but he knows because he had both. Verse 15. All things have I seen in the days of my vanity. There is a just man that perisheth in his righteousness, and there is a wicked man that prolongeth his life in his wickedness. Okay, I'd say this. I can attest to this. I know people who lived well into their 90s doing wickedness. I'm telling you, wickedness. And having other people brought into that same sphere of wrongdoing, and they lived to be in their 90s. And I have known people who I would consider so good and meek and mild and righteous, and they would die in their 60s, 50s, maybe even before. But I don't get it. This is what Solomon is saying here. Who knows? Who can understand the ways of God? Verse 20. For there is not a just man upon earth that doeth good and sinneth not. Remember that. Despite, I've heard so many people say, why do bad things happen to good people? Even Jesus said, don't call me good. That's what Jesus said about himself. There's none good. No, not one. We are talking about people who maybe never committed some heinous crime. That's what we are referring to as good. But here's what Solomon says. There's not a just man upon the earth. So when we start pointing out people, he was a good man. You have no clue what that person's heart was like. You could see them on the outside, see them smile, see them talk, see them, congregate with the saints. And you think in your heart, oh yes, there goes a just man who loves God. Or a just woman who is so virtuous, and you don't have a clue. That's why God says, judgment is mine, I will repay. Amen to that. Verse 21. Also, take no heed unto all words that are spoken, lest thou hear thy servant curse thee. For ofttimes also thine own heart knoweth that thou thyself likewise hast cursed others. And I would say that some of us become very offended, and me included, when I hear that someone said something about me. I'm getting over. God knows I'm praying about it to get past, because it's just self. It's just vanity and self and pride and foolishness. But when we get upset about hearing other people say bad things about us, think back. How many times have we done the same? We are not innocent in that realm. Everyone has said something that they should not have said, that was not good about someone else. So don't take too much close attention. You're listening. Oh, I think they're talking about me. Let them. Just move away from it. I remember King David, when he was, I think he was going to Jerusalem to claim it, and one of Saul's relatives was there cursing at him, and one of his generals said, should we just get rid of him? And David said, no, maybe God set him up to do that. I think it was the time David was running from his son Absalom. Many times I think that same relative of Saul had cursed out on him. But yes, let's not listen too much to what people have to say about us. Know thyself, okay? And get rid of vanity. Verse 24, that which is far off and exceeding deep, who can find it out? You know, people go down to the depths of the ocean to find things down there. Lord have mercy. Sometimes maybe we need to leave those things alone. I don't know. Verse 29, God has made man upright, but they have sought out many inventions. And that is the truth. God did not make guns. He did not make bombs. He did not make atomic weapons. He did not make nuclear weapons. He did not make any of that stuff. That's us. God has made man upright, but man, has sought out many inventions. And Lord knows how many we have sought out. Some good, some not so good. Okay, that was the synopsis of chapter 7. Now let's go on to chapter 8. This is from verse 1. A man's wisdom maketh his face to shine. You remember when Moses came down from the mount after talking to God? They couldn't stand to see Moses' face because Moses was in the presence of God. You know, the sun gives off light. God is just naturally light in himself. And whatsoever it's in contact with God, it brightens you. Satan is the opposite. When you're in contact with Satan, you are darkened. And people can tell. And I don't mean the color of your skin. I mean your nature, your inside, your personality becomes dark. That's what people can see shining through. The light of God or the darkness of the devil. Verse 6. Because to every purpose there is time and judgment. Therefore the misery of man is great upon him. Like I said, Job made a statement that I so greatly agree with. Job said, man is few of days, and man that is born of woman is few of days and full of troubles. Similar to what Solomon is saying here. Every purpose there's time and judgment, and we have great misery. Okay? Because things don't stop being bad because we want them to be, or they don't start being good because we want them to. Verse 8. Neither hath he power in the day of death, and there is no discharge in that war. You know what he's saying? You don't control when you die, and there is no coming back. There is no discharge in that war. That's a metaphor that you do not return from the grave until the Lord calls your name, until Jesus comes again. Stop this believing in dead people walking around. Hey, if you're dead, you can't be walking around. You're either or. Make up your mind. Oh, and then you have no choice. You're dead, you're dead. You're alive, you're alive. Okay, verse 11. Love this verse, and this is so applicable to the world today. Why evil continues, and people like to say there's no God because they think they're getting away with the wicked things they keep doing. God help us. Verse 11 of chapter 8, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully setting them to do evil. Love that verse because it is so true. I have seen people boast that they are doing wrong, that the evil they are doing is acceptable in God's sight. You believe such nonsense because God has not punished them. They have received no retribution for their wrongdoing, so what they're doing is okay with God. Mercy, that we could be that foolish. That's the foolishness Solomon talked about. But that's a verse I have restated many times. Verse 12. I know that it shall be well with them that fear God. And I'd say this, not because we see people doing wrong and seeming to get away with it, it means that we need to join in and do wrong. That's foolishness. They have their reward. Before you know it, the wicked will not be anymore. And I know we hate that sometimes because it seems like we are trying to do good and we can't see our way, but the wickedness of somebody just doing wicked deeds, you know that person is wicked, and they just seem not to be getting any retribution from God. You just keep praying that you hold fast to God. Don't worry about it. And verse 14, there is a vanity which is done upon the earth, that there be just men unto whom it happeneth according to the work of the wicked. Again, there be wicked men to whom it happeneth according to the work of the righteous. I said that this also is vanity. That's exactly what I was just referring to. Wicked people prosper, and people who are trying to do right, I don't want to say they're good, they're trying to do right, to be right in God's sight, suffers and have a hard life. Go figure. Verse 16. For also there is that neither day nor night seeth sleep with his eyes. And I'll read verse 17 as it's the last. Then I beheld all the work of God, that a man cannot find out the work that is done under the sun. We can't figure out God a lot of times. But I tell you one thing, knowing what God has done in each of our lives is going to help us to remember God is merciful because he has forgiven us. God is loving because we can go back to him and ask for forgiveness and he will forgive us. God is caring because he takes care of us every day. We may not have a whole bunch of whatever it is we think we should have, but God is giving us every day what he deems best. Just like the widow with the oil. She didn't get a whole barrel and say, okay, keep drawing from this every day. She had to have faith, and she kept going back to that bottle that she had there. And every time she went back and she poured, something came out. So you know what? Whatever God is allowing to trickle out for you, bless the Lord, oh my soul. That's our reading for today. Thank you all for listening. Again, remember, faith comes when we hear God's word. Until next time. Bye.